Should this message find its way to you, there is one fundamental truth I must share with complete conviction. This is no random algorithmic occurrence, nor is it mere chance at work. What you are experiencing right now is the cosmos itself providing an answer to the silent inquiry your spirit has been making. Within that private space in your being where uncertainty has taken root, there exists something vital you were meant to discover at this precise moment. Before your wavering transforms into complete surrender, I understand you have been maintaining your silence. I recognize you have continued forward as though all possibilities had concluded, attempting to persuade yourself that you have successfully moved beyond this chapter. However, buried within your core, there persists a lingering inquiry that refuses to quiet, an unresolved matter that disrupts your tranquility. And this inquiry, concerning what lies ahead for this relationship, can only find resolution through the greater spiritual design. That resolution arrives before you now, with an unmistakable transparency you can no longer dismiss. Release the notion that you are inflating the significance of your emotions. You are not constructing this powerful experience from nothing. You are neither loving without purpose, nor loving in isolation. The spiritual linkage that binds you to this individual is genuine and tangible, a connection not constructed by rational thought, but emerging from the deepest parts of your being. This is not a passing attraction, but something carrying profound significance. The essential truth you must embrace and hold close is exactly this. At this very moment, the cosmos is confirming that abandoning this path would be a mistake. You find yourself positioned at the threshold of something coming into reality that has been quietly preparing itself for both individuals involved over an extended period. You cannot possibly comprehend the magnitude of energy currently working in ways unseen to support your desired outcome. That persistent sensation suggesting transformation is approaching is not a false perception. The way this narrative continues to occupy your thoughts, the manner in which their identity refuses to vacate your awareness, and how your emotional center keeps gravitating back toward them. These are not indicators of unhealthy attachment or compulsive thinking. These are confirmations. These represent sensations that cannot be manufactured through will alone, but instead belong to a greater intention that neither geographical separation nor the passage of time nor prolonged quiet can eliminate. For this reason, the primary crucial action you must take today is precisely this. Cease interpreting physical separation as evidence of defeat. In reality, the distance between your physical locations is merely an illusion of circumstance. The energetic bond connecting you both remains more vibrant and active than it has ever been. Your spirit maintains unbroken communication with theirs on a continuous basis. You remain linked by an imperceptible cord, and the sensation of incompleteness you recognize is actually reflecting the parallel experience of the other individual who senses your non-presence. That very absence serves as the instrument through which fate operates. This individual holds your identity, buried deeply within their consciousness. Even should they attempt to turn away or shelter themselves behind their apprehensions, the universe perceives beyond what human beings attempt to mask. Therefore, do not relinquish what entered your existence carrying such deep purpose. This form of love is not a casual preference. It originates from a realm far more spiritual and divinely orchestrated. In the approaching moments, you will identify the initial, unmistakable validation that their spirit is energetically reaching toward you at this precise instant. However, to comprehend this fully, you must first understand what is transpiring within the invisible realm. The critical element for this narrative to advance does not rest in your external actions, but rather in your internal conviction. Maintain your steadfastness, not driven by restless anticipation, but arising from profound confidence that whatever rightfully belongs to you will remain, and whatever destiny has brought together cannot be severed. Place your confidence in your inner knowing, that sensation communicating to you that the affection still exists. This represents the singular truth requiring your attention at present. Recognize that there exists someone who genuinely holds deep feelings for you, someone whose thoughts turn to you with greater frequency than they would openly acknowledge. And what you are experiencing now is merely the initial phase. Now that you have validated the genuine nature of your inner guidance, it becomes vital to transition from uncertainty through comprehension toward a recognition of the unseen reality enveloping your situation. Despite the absence of communication and the space between you, you are not navigating this journey in isolation. The powerful feelings you experience are not fabrications, but rather represent truth that has been embedded within your being. If the cosmos has orchestrated your meeting, arranged the crossing of your paths, and embedded within you a certainty you cannot reject, then this occurs because the underlying purpose surpasses ordinary human reasoning. Perhaps you have sensed that this bond requires more from you than you are receiving in return, or that you are clinging to something appearing to fade away. That represents a false interpretation of reality. The actual truth is that you are receiving guidance, and the universe would never implant such profound love within your heart only to abandon you without direction or support. When your emotional center continuously returns to the identical point, this happens not because your rational mind is misleading you, but because there exists a connection that does not spring from impulsive desire, but flows directly from the soul itself. This sensation carries authenticity, and this greater purpose cannot be destroyed by lack of communication or geographical distance. Type the word real in the comments section if this truth resonates with you. The genuine inquiry becomes, why does this narrative continue to hold such presence within you? Why does their identity refuse to diminish from your awareness? Why does this bond refuse to dissolve? The explanation is straightforward. Because it possesses more vitality than you currently recognize. What belongs to you at the energetic dimension cannot simply vanish. What destiny has woven together cannot be torn apart by miscommunications or temporary breaks. Consequently, this sensation persisting within you that resists fading is not a demonstration of fragility. It represents your soul, confirming that this affection rightfully belongs to you. There exists a substantial, almost impossible to cross difference between what your physical vision perceives and what your spirit recognizes. What your eyes observe is merely the external layer, an individual who seems removed, unresponsive, or apathetic. However, the universe communicates to you. Do not allow this surface appearance to mislead you. Within this individual dwells emotions that carry your name written upon them. Affection of this particular nature does not always manifest itself in logical ways. Sometimes it conceals itself, creates barriers, or takes defensive positions. From a place of fearing the loss of everything, this individual thinks of you far more frequently than they would be willing to confess. They register your absence, your energetic presence, your silence. They become aware when your name surfaces in conversation, when they recall a past exchange, or when they look upon a photograph they cannot bring themselves to erase. They experience a void they cannot rationally explain. And even if you believe they have successfully moved forward, they have not. If you assume you hold no significance to them, you are mistaken. If you imagine they have erased you from memory, they have not. Certain emotions have a way of returning. Certain recollections carry pain, and particular signs follow their movements. There are instances when they pause in the midst of their day, solely to direct their thoughts toward you. The universe has been witness to each of these moments. However, let us examine something more tangible. Type the word magnet in the comments section to activate your power of attraction. This internal condition is precisely what the other soul recognizes when during its period of darkness it yearns for illumination. Your equilibrium generates a magnetic pull that organically draws them back toward you. Once you discontinue broadcasting urgency and anxiety, the authentic resonance of the soul bond begins to function in its pure state, liberated from opposition. They do not return motivated by sympathy or manipulation, but because your energetic field has transformed into something so transparent and powerful that their soul possesses no alternative but to rejoin with yours. That represents the fundamental nature of magnetic release, letting go in order to draw near. However, to genuinely comprehend why the universe selected this particular pathway, we must grasp why this separation became necessary in the first place. If the bond is so profound and carries such meaning, why did the universe permit this difficult pause to occur? Because this separation does not function as punishment, but instead serves as part of the greater design, an activation of your shared destiny. The pause operates as training, a preparation period so that this affection can manifest in its truest form. The strength of your connection was so immense that without proper healing and conscious awareness, it would have crumbled beneath the burden of its own unreadiness. The first concealed purpose of this separation exists in the maturing of the relationship. When you first encountered one another, both individuals were operating from outdated patterns, from places of fear, codependency, or the requirement for external validation. The universe understood that this dynamic would obscure the purity of your affection. Therefore, it created intervention to establish space for awakening. This phase of being alone functioned as a type of spiritual incubation chamber. You acquire the ability to love yourself independent of their attention, while they face the requirement to confront their fears without the sanctuary of your proximity. The second purpose of this pause involves transformation. Destiny does not seek a repetition of previous patterns, but instead desires a renewed connection, more conscious, deeper in nature, and more stable in foundation. The discomfort of this pause represents the cost of evolution. Through the experience of absence, both individuals arrive at an understanding of the genuine value of what exists between you. The other individual's soul comes to recognize that you are impossible to replace, that no alternative connection will ever register as equally complete, because no other carries the identical soul agreement. This explains why the universe continuously engineers situations that bring you back to their awareness. Moments when they register the vacuum created by your energetic absence, and realize they have wandered from their authentic path. This pause is in truth an act of pure affection from the universe. A higher force declares, "I will safeguard this connection until both parties are prepared. I will create separation to facilitate healing, so you may return as whole beings, conscious and united, permanently." The discomfort you currently experience is temporary in nature, but the understanding born from this experience is eternal. The affection that returns will be unlike anything you have previously encountered, because it will emerge from awareness, not from neediness. Now that magnetic detachment has set the energy into motion, and the dark night of the other soul has reached its culminating point, the moment arrives when your belief takes visible shape. The universe has made a promise to you that this separation exists only as a temporary state. And now the time has come to identify the signs confirming that the return is drawing near. The first and most evident of these signs is the intensification of genuine, inner, telepathic communication. These are no longer unclear recollections or vague yearning, but instead clear, vivid thoughts materializing in moments of stillness, waves of warmth, happiness, or gentleness abruptly washing through you. They serve as evidence that your souls have already resumed communication. What you sense now are the emotions belonging to the other individual, no longer in a state of resistance, but flowing freely. Their heart begins to yield to the truth of feeling, and at the precise moment they permit this, their energy accesses your field in a direct manner. Pay careful attention to the timing. If you discover yourself awakening at the identical hour each night, it may represent the moment when their soul is most engaged, or when a memory touches them so profoundly that it draws them from sleep. Another unmistakable sign is the recurring appearance of specific numbers. The universe communicates through synchronized occurrences, and numbers represent one of its most accurate languages. If you suddenly observe the same numerical sequences appearing repeatedly, 111 indicating spiritual alignment, 222 representing balance and duality, 777 signifying spiritual reward, this is not coincidental. These patterns represent the method through which the universe softly speaks. The divine timing is gaining momentum. The pathway is opening before you. They are visible confirmations that the unseen work is already producing results. A third powerful sign is the breakdown of fear and the victory over absence. The other individual reaches the point where the pain of remaining separated becomes greater than the fear of allowing closeness. That is the moment destiny has been preparing for, the point where continuing to flee no longer makes any sense. The emptiness your magnetic release has created becomes impossible for them to bear. Once they could occupy themselves with distractions or hide behind protective walls, but the universe leaves them without escape routes. Unease, inability to sleep, and the feeling of finding no peace without your presence become their motivating force. When their heart realizes that existence without you is more difficult than the risk of loving you once more, the silence shatters. Then arrives the fourth and final phase, sudden clarity. When they return, it will not be accompanied by uncertainty or partial truths. The dark night of their soul has burned away all ambivalence. You will sense it in their voice, their gaze, and their actions. Clarity, determination, mutual feeling. This reunion will not be halfway measures, but a conscious manifestation. The universe did not permit the separation to cause you to stumble once more, but to prepare you for a new beginning, mature, clear, healed. The reunion is unavoidable because it no longer depends on your actions, but on the completion of their inner healing cycle. Type the word reunion in the comments section to claim your new beginning.